Welcome to part 2 of Open Mic. We've seen the man behind the footballer. Now let's take a closer look at Anthony Koutoufides, father, husband, brother and son. Collar and tie, Anthony. So there's more to life than football?
Yeah, there is, Mike. I 2-3 years ago decided to study Diploma of Financial Planning, and it's going very slowly, but it is slowly progressing.
Is that just to manage your own money, or do you plan to sort of go into general practice?
Outside of footy, if nothing comes of it, I guess I'll have something behind me that I've completed a financial planning course. But I think it's pretty important too to manage your money. I think nowadays AFL footballers earn really good money. It's important that you know what you're doing with it, where to invest it, and how long you should invest it, and all those sort of things. So that's certainly helped me.
Well, we're here in the boardroom of the Commercial Advisory Group with the boss, Adrian Gleeson, and his star cadet, Anthony Koutoufides. Welcome, Mr. Gleeson.
Thanks, Mike. Pleasure to be here.
How's the boy going?
Yeah, actually, I've just reintroduced myself to him, so I haven't seen him for a few weeks, being injured and spending a bit of time in the rehab, so it's good to see him back in the office.
What role does he perform here?
Quite varied. I guess Anthony's, he's studying financial planning. We're in accounting financial planning practice, and Anthony's done 3 units of the 8 of the financial planning, so he's now working on his 4th. This gives him a bit of an all-round understanding of what financial planning is all about, and I guess working in an office environment, which is a little bit different to a football environment. Which
raises the question of the importance of a career post-football for you blokes. I mean, you've gone on and done something.
Yeah, I think so, Mike. It's pretty important. Carlton, they really instilled that strong work ethic, I guess, on the field, and it was also off the field. So, back when we were playing, the money was good, and we had a good lifestyle, but certainly you had to have a career to support that, the ongoing income needs, I guess, of your family.
Now, Anthony said before that you were one of his heroes when he arrived at Optus Oval. Can you recall any early memories of the young Koutoufides?
Probably it's very kind of you, Anthony, saying that, but one of the, I guess, early memories of Anthony was his ability to pick the ball up one hand like a tennis ball.
It's an unusual style, isn't it? I mean, there's very, very few players before him and now that play the Koutoufides way when he's up and running.
No, there's not too many on song when Anthony's up and going that they've got the ability or the class, I suppose.
It's a perfect lead into a question that Anthony wanted to ask you, but he asked me if I would. Right. Can he have a pay rise?
I think Anthony's doing quite well, mate, without actually getting a pay rise, mate. If he actually turned up to work a bit more often than he does, we might think about giving him a bit of a pay rise, but I think he's going okay at the moment.
That's great. Adrian, nice to see you, and I hope that you continue to have a fatherly interest in the developments in the commercial arena of one Anthony Koutoufides.
Thanks, Mike.
Anthony, your father Jim passed away early in 1998. I know you were very close. What sort of impact did that have on your life at the time?
Yeah, Mike, that was very, very tough. You always think as a young kid your father's going to be there forever, and he got ill towards the end of '97, where he got diagnosed with lung cancer, and we found it very hard as a family ourselves because he was our father, my father, who I loved and supported me all throughout my life, and it's a very cruel death, and it's a very slow process, and the way he passed away was very hard on all of us. I couldn't recall, the house had a lot of silence every time we'd come back from hospital or I'd come home from training. I'd just think, geez, I hope he's all right, and I know it affected my footy in '98, that's for sure, because my pre-season I spent focused on my father, not on my footy, and '98 was probably the worst year I'd ever had, and certainly after halfway through, and I can recall an article by you, Mike, when you said they should drop me, which was fair enough. I'd finished, I think, with 5 possessions that day and not playing good footy at all. I thought, hang on, I've got to buckle down here now and start thinking about my future, and I think my father would have wanted that.
I'm sorry about that story. They made me write it.
They made you.
How old was your father?
He was 58.
58?
Yeah, so I thought he was still a bit young when he passed away, and he wanted to, I guess when I look back, he watched us win a premiership in '95, which he was over the moon about, and never got to see probably my best footy after that, but he would have been proud, I think, up there and watching down and looking down on me.
Was there one thing, one event or one person that actually sort of got your mind right after that and sort of told you, well, these things happen and in life and you've got to then put your head down and knuckle down to what your life's about?
Yeah, look, I had good family and friend support back then, but I think Barry Mitchell and Wayne Britton really were the two keys on helping me through the tough times and where I basically was struggling with my footy, and Mitch and Brits were there by my side, and I did a heap of extra work with them to get myself fitter, and I think by the end of the year I was playing pretty good footy.
I must compliment you on on the affection and the time you showed to a young girl who was fighting a terminal illness. We saw some photos in the paper, and I remember thinking, reading those, I thought there's so much criticism directed at AFL players of what they don't do, and yet they don't get a lot of credit for the time they spend and the love that they give to their supporters.
Yeah, Brooke was a special girl. I met her through a family friend who introduced me to Brooke, who was struggling at that time with cancer. And being through it myself, I know how tough it is on the family. You can hear stories, but until you're actually affected through your family, you know, you can never understand it. So, yeah, I spent time with Brooke. She found it very difficult. I had to go in there and help her through chemotherapy. I had to sit there at one occasion with her because she didn't really want to do it. She just wanted to avoid the chemotherapy. And she'd been through it the one time before and thought maybe she can get through without it. But unfortunately, Brooke fought all the way to the end, but you know, was overcome by that by the cancer. And you know, I went to her funeral, and her family were fantastic. So, you know, I gave her everything that I could back then.
Well done.
Thanks.
Cooter also is a man about town, so we joined him for a coffee in one of his favourite cafes in cosmopolitan Brunswick Street.
Next week.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Look forward
Hello,
to
mate.
it. Well,
Couple of coffees, mate.
What are you doing here?
Well, mate, I don't earn any more money anymore, so I've got to push coffees to make a living these days. How
Great
are
to
you?
see you. You know, Anthony.
Hello,
Well,
mate.
how are you?
All right.
Sit down.
Do you not mind if I have a seat with you guys?
Love to see you.
You're not talking about anything too important?
You know a bit about this bloke. Tell us about your early memories.
Yeah, my earliest memory of Cooter was I was sitting up in the Heatley stand just before the seniors and watching the reserves, and I saw this skinny, curly-headed blonde kid. Yeah, I looked at him, I thought, oh, this kid's, you know, got a bit of a future, but couldn't have imagined, you know, how good he was going to be at that stage.
Did you take much of an interest in him when he did come through? I mean, you were 5 or 6 years older than him.
Yeah, I did actually. There was, you know, a few of us there, and Cooter and Ange, Christo and myself, we sort of, you know, hung about together. And I mean, I was a bit older than those guys, but I sort of took them under my wing a little bit, and you know what it was like, sort of being an ethnic boy, you know, growing up in this sort of environment. So yeah, and you know, both of them great guys.
How was he, Anth, when you were young?
And Mill was terrific. I mean, you always remember the guys that gave you a little bit of time, and Mill was certainly one of them, especially for Ange and I. In '95, he spent a lot of time with us before games talking to us. So you always remember that, and we've stayed friends ever since.
Ange Christo, welcome to Open Mic. Now, where are you and what are you doing?
Well, you wouldn't believe it, mate. I'm in Athens and I'm enjoying it. And what am I doing? My God, I don't know where to start. I'm actually working for a great company by the name of Clean Event, actually derived, you know, from Melbourne.
So is it permanent? Are you there to stay or are you just visiting?
It was a holiday at first, and I just thought I'll see how long I can last holidaying. And then Clean Event came up and approached me and asked me if I could have a job, and I thought if I wanted a job, and I took it.
It's a long time since you've had this much time away from your old mate Anthony, isn't it?
Yes, Mr. Koutoufides, that's right. I mean, we used to live in each other's pockets.
Do you still speak regularly?
Absolutely. Probably about 2 days ago, I think I logged onto the net, and they said that Cooter's career is over, and I thought, you're kidding. So I gave him a quick buzz, and it was a bit of a hoax because he said, yeah, actually they want to kick me out. They want me to, you know, pay 50% of my wage back. And I said, well, that's pretty fair. You're not even playing and you're earning 1.5.
So that was the first you realised that there was a story in the Herald Sun, actually, that he'd hurt his hamstring again and perhaps his season was over, and you read that on the net.
Well, I actually spoke to him the Tuesday before training, and then I read it Wednesday, and then rang him on Wednesday and said, what's going on? You know, he never told me. He goes, yes, I did, you peanut, I told you. And
Take us back to your earliest memories of the bloke who became your best mate.
Let's start with barbecues. He'd have a barbecue, or not a barbecue, he'd have a dinner get-together and organise all the youngsters. Every Monday we'd get different kids out there, you know, the first and second year players. And then I actually followed suit as well, and I'd do it on a Sunday. But and that was the good old days when, you know, I actually miss Mrs. Koutoufides' cuisine because it was delightful. It was beautiful. The funny thing was, he never wanted to leave home, especially pre-season. He'd always wanted to stay, you know, in Thomastown. He goes, no, I don't want to leave. I want to stay in Thomastown, you know, with mum and dad and the brothers. And like every pre-season, I'd have to push him and wind him, you know, and wind him up and say, look, let's just travel the world. You know, it's only for a few weeks or so, and you know, and then there's memories like at the end of it all, and now he's actually patting me on the back.
What did you think when he was made captain of the Mighty Blues?
It was sensational news. I mean, I'm pretty sure he won't mind me saying this, but he always wanted to be the captain of the Carlton Football Club.
Yeah.
But no, it was great for him too. So, and like to lead such a, I mean, at that stage as well, in his career and in the footy circles at Carlton, I mean, you know, we needed someone that was, you know, big in stature as well as, you know, great mindset and, you know, great work ethic as well. So, I mean, good luck to him.
Nice to catch up with you, Andrew. I hope you win a medal at the Olympics, mate.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Why is he the right choice to be the Carlton captain?
Look, I'm glad you asked me that question because I've been a very strong advocate of Anthony being captain, and I even remember, I reckon 5 or 6 years ago, when Kernahan retired, I was very adamant with Sticks and Williams and Colin Kinnear. And I just said to him, I said, at that time, I said, he should be made captain now. You know, like they made Sticks captain after his second year, I felt that Anthony would have been a great captain. But, you know, in the end, I suppose, you know, he was made captain. I felt a bit too late in the piece. I certainly think he should have been made captain straight after Sticks retired. And as it's proved, you know, he's a very popular captain. And I
was going to ask you about that. Have you known a player in your time connected with Carlton who's been more popular with the rank and file supporters than Anthony?
No. Well, I honestly can't remember the Jaselenko days. I was too young before that era. But just looking through the crowd, I mean, you know, in most eras, with the exception of Ablett, you know, you'd see there'd be a scattering of numbers on the backs of kids. But, you know, during his time, you know, I think there was a 90% 10 or 90, you know, 43 against any other number. So
43 and 13, I believe, are the most popular.
Well, 13 got a couple of runs if here and there, mostly from my Lebanese cousins.
John Elliott, you love Kouta, don't you?
Mike, I do love Kouta because not only is he a champion footballer, he's a wonderful person. And if all footballers were like Kouta, there'd never be any off-field trouble and you'd just have a wonderful club.
Now, you clearly have a lot of affection, a deep affection for Kouta the man, apart from the footballer. What he is, it doesn't seem that the fame doesn't seem to have spoilt him at all?
I think that's probably his greatest attribute. I mean, a lot of great footballers, it goes to their head a bit, and they become a bit self-important, and they love the adulation. Kouta is no different to when he walked into Carlton as a young man today. When you talk to him, he's just the same fella, and he's just a top-quality person. I don't know whether I would have ever... I was surprised when he was made captain.
I was going to ask you that, yeah.
But Pagan's told me that he's just taken the leadership as part of his, you know, what he's got to do. And in hindsight, I think it's a wonderful appointment. We just need to get him out on the track playing, and he'll be a better player because he's now captain than he's ever been, I think.
Okay, well, you two played in the premiership together, and you also had some very fond memories of some overseas trips, didn't you? Tell us about the Rio expedition.
Rio was my second last footy trip I went on, and Matty Allen actually read Ronnie Biggs's book. He was living in Rio at the time, and he wrote him a letter saying, look, we're a bunch of footballers who are coming up to Rio, we're going to visit you. Didn't get a reply. Then the real estate agent knew him and gave us his number. So when we got to Rio, Matty rang him and said, look, we're going to come along. He said, yeah, no worries, boys, come along. We'll charge you $50 a head for a barbecue and a few beers. I think there was about 20 of us at the time, and 4 or 5 taxi loads rocked up there. Unfortunately, our taxi driver got a bit lost. Anyway, it should have been 20 minutes taxi drive, you know, 45 minutes later we were still lost.
So who are you with?
Well, Luke R. Sullivan, Earl Sporting, Adrian Gleeson and myself. Anyway, we got this really narrow, steep cobblestone road, and the taxi driver's turned right into it, and all of a sudden I've just noticed there's the guy on the bottom of the hill had a gun, machine gun. And the taxi driver, I could see the taxi driver was nervous about the whole experience, and we had no idea what was going on. We were warned about this before we left Australia, that don't get off the beaten track there. So the guy with the gun came on the rear side window and with his machine gun, and he just looked at us in quite a serious way, and then another guy appeared from nowhere with another machine gun, and he was just giving us this look like any second he was just going to kill us. Yeah? And I don't know if it was Ronnie Biggs's name that the taxi driver mentioned that got us out of it, but eventually he gave us directions how to get to Ronnie Biggs's place. And when we got there, I thought Ronnie was going to say, don't worry about it, boys, that happens every day. But he said, you're really lucky. He said, I'm surprised you didn't get killed. And only at that time that it hit home to me how lucky we were when he said that.
Geez, you would have been popular, taking this bloke away at his age then.
Oh, yeah,
and having him
Jesus.
abducted, never
Well, that's,
returning.
I don't know how old you were at that time, but that was,
I would have been 23 back then.
Yeah.
And I remember Mike sitting there, all of us waiting for these guys to turn up, and it took them so long. We think, what's happening to these guys? When you're seeing the guys walk in pale-faced, you thought, hang on a second, like we were all laughing, but thought, hang on, what's happened here? And when the guys told us the story, we were just all shocked and amazed of what could happen on a trip away where it should be all fun. Something as simple as that can cost you your life.
Well, it's very nice of you to join us, Mel. Catch up with an old friend, and thanks for sharing your memories with us.
No worries. I just wish, I was earning as much money as him, that's all.
We all do. The rare days that you have some free time, how do you spend it? What's your favourite pursuit outside of football?
Outside, well, I come into work whenever I get a chance to. Lately I've been playing a bit of golf, but I'm a bit of a hacker, Mike. I'm not too good at it.
You've got some ex-teammates that are pretty good at it. Williams,
Yeah.
Kernahan, Bradley.
Yeah, they're all terrific golfers and they love their golf, and I've got actually teammates at the moment who go out there every week, and there's I think 5 of them who have a big competition every week who are really good golfers and take it pretty seriously.
Tell us about your family situation. You're married, you've got one child.
Yep, yeah. I'm married to Susie. We got married 2 years ago nearly now, and we had our first child, Jamie, last January 21st, 3 days after my birthday. And he's certainly been a joy to our lives. And
Did it help, given the problems you had with your body, that sort of having a diversion in your life and a new member in the family, did that help?
Yeah, certainly. Now, I mean, when you get home and you have your bad days, but you see him and he's all smiling, he runs towards you, well, you forget about all your problems. And, when you're there playing with him all the time. And
How are his knees?
oh, well, hopefully a bit better than his old man's anyway.
Yeah. Now, Anna, Anthony's the hero of the Greek community, but in fact there's some Italian blood in the family, isn't there?
That's it. Yeah,
And that's you. You were born in Italy?
North Italy.
Yeah. So does Italy get enough credit for him or not, or did the Greeks take all the credit?
Yeah, I think so.
There's not much right up in the old global, mate.
No, because the nine, not much in the Italian.
Now, when he was a little boy, and you've got three sons, when they wanted to play football, how did you react to that?
No, I was happy. Well, when they started, no. I know, was happy going the beginning. Then after, I follow them.
Yeah, and you go every week?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get up and yell and...
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
What about when someone says something bad about number 43?
I don't like that. You say to me, bullying me, I hear somebody behind me.
Do you ever say anything?
Yeah, sometimes I did.
She does.
Does she?
Slaps him sometimes.
Does she really?
Not really.
Taking number 43 aside, who's your favourite Carlton player? Just him?
She likes them all, though.
I like the number because it's something part of me.
Yeah. What do you mean? What's the significance of 43?
My mum was born in 1943, that's why I always kept the number 43.
Is that why you... So you asked for 43?
No, I was presented with it, but I always
Yeah.
kept it for that reason because it meant something to
And
me.
then I said, even a small number, I said, no, I'll leave it that. I said, this is my...
She was very controlling, huh?
Anna, you'd be very proud that your son has joined the list of captains at Carlton with
Yeah.
Jezelenko and Kernahan and people like that?
Really, I think he deserves it.
Yeah. Did you have any interest in football before the boys played? No. Your son says you're very good in the garden.
Yes, I do that, yeah. I was used to knitting, now no more, but the garden's still on.
Used to make a few dresses.
Anthony says you're very good on the dance floor.
Well, yes, yes.
Paul, you were the first of the boys to get to an age where you could decide whether you wanted to play footy. How far did you go in your footy?
I finished up at Preston in the VFA after I was cut from the list at Carlton in the 19s and the reserves.
So you played under 19s consistently, and how many games in the second?
So I played a few games in the seconds.
Can we be specific?
No, there was one game.
Oh, there's one, I see. Did you happen to play together that day?
Yeah, we did in that game, and Paul actually played a very good game. He surprised me, but I didn't get a kick, I don't think, that day. But Paul was a very good, consistent under-19s player. He was very tough and very hard at the ball, unlike myself.
Paul, one of the trademarks of the Anthony Koutoufides game style is the one-handed pickup. Where did he learn that?
He learned it from me.
From you?
Yeah. Yeah, back in the early ages at primary school.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So there was a bit of flair in the elder koutoufides, was there?
Yeah. I think it's just it's a family trait.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just a big claw down and up
Yeah.
it comes, yeah?
Yeah.
His teacher actually wrote a card to Paul at the end of the year. Is that right,
Yeah,
Paul?
yeah.
That, you know, the Cooter, the guy who picks up the football with one hand.
And
So he was the
and
original.
dodges a few players.
Okay, well there you go.
I reckon you got a bad deal at Carlton. I don't know I'd taken the wrong koutoufides. When Paul was chopped, did that... do you have any misgivings about staying at this footy club and flying the family flag?
I mean, I was hurt when Paul, wasn't asked to stay on because I thought he had the ability to keep playing at that level. But, you know, I had to move on. And, you know, the family obviously wanted me to keep going and not stop because my brother got the cut.
Now, when they were growing up, Anna, did the elder boys fight much?
Yeah, but not really, because they was really busy with the homework, athletic, football.
The homework?
Yeah.
Not
We
even.
pretended,
Well,
Mike. We had
I see
we
them
had
all
a
the time in the study.
Andrew's
Nobody
in
knows
his
what to
room,
do.
Mike, just pretending he's doing
But-
his homework.
Yeah.
There
If
you
someone
go.
walks past him,
What
he's
are
like
you-
pretending he's reading his books.
Paul, you, the two brothers both go to the football. What happens when someone says something disparaging about your little brother?
We've had 2 incidents in the past, but mainly it's not bad, but we've had 2 in the past. And we've nearly got caught in a bit of a scuffle.
When you hear it, though, do you have to check yourself and sort of say, look, I won't get involved here, I've just heard it, I don't like it, but I'll let it go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let
It's
it
the
go.
best thing to do.
So, Anthony, big test for you. When was the big day?
Actually, I'll let Susie answer that one.
Because you can't remember.
We got married on the 5th of October 2002.
And where at?
The church was actually in the city.
St Patrick's
St.
Cathedral.
Patrick's,
You're
yeah.
doing well with this. Do you remember your wife's name?
Father, yeah, Susie. Father was
Father
Gerard
Gerard
Dowling. Yeah,
Oh,
he was
yeah,
a great
yeah.
guy, North Melbourne support
Football
actually.
man? Yeah.
And the reception was in Brighton.
Now, you'd had 2002, was there a knee injury around that time?
Yeah, it was during that season when I came back from my knee reconstruction. I had
Yeah,
another
limping.
operation on my medial.
Limping up the aisle?
No, it wasn't too bad that
No,
day.
he's pretty good.
I had to dance. I had to get the leg right.
Oh, you did you?
Yeah.
It's in the family, is it, the dancing?
The dancing is slightly,
Yeah. But
slightly
I
in the
must
family.
say he's got 2 left feet though.
He's a boy,
Oh.
we all have.
He doesn't really know to dance.
Oh, here we
No,
go.
and proud of it.
That's right. That's right.
Susie, what's it like being married to a sex symbol?
I actually don't see Anthony as a sex symbol. He's my husband, so I don't quite look at him that way.
Did you ever see him as a sex symbol?
Well, no, because I didn't really know who he was at the beginning, so
You didn't?
no.
So who hit on who all those years ago?
Be honest, Susie.
Well, he gave me his number, so I followed it up.
Okay, so that was at first meeting he gave
Yep.
you his number?
Yeah.
Smooth operator, isn't
He is actually.
he? What's he like in the domestic scene? What's he like with your little boy?
Well, he's actually quite surprised me because in the beginning I thought I wouldn't see that side of him because he didn't really show too much of that.
Mhm.
So he's been pretty good actually. Every minute that he gets from when he in between training, he comes up and spends time with the family whenever he can.
The big test of all men is the nappies. What's he like with the nappies?
He's really good actually.
Did he need some coaxing, or was he all right from the start?
He did a bit of watching. He watched a bit, and then he's pretty good with them now.
Good.
He's good.
Is that all true and accurate?
Yeah, it took a little while. I was a bit hesitant at the start, but yeah, now I'm a guru, I think, at it. I do it quite often now, actually.
Yeah.
Were you a footy fan before you crossed paths with
I
the great man?
wasn't, no.
Did you know who he was?
Not really, because I've never been brought up around football, so footy to me was very foreign. So I went to my first game when I met Anthony.
So when you got the napkin that said, "I'm Anthony Koutoufides and I'd like to take you out," what did you think?
Well, we actually seen each other though, Mike, when I did hand over the number.
Oh, well, he didn't introduce himself like that. It was more like, my name's Anthony. Not, I'm Anthony the footballer.
So you've got another little one on the way?
We do, actually, yeah.
Due when?
It's actually due on the 21st of October.
Mm-hmm. How many are you planning? Are you planning any specific number?
Oh, I would just take it as it
I
comes.
think Susie wants me to start playing a bit more footy now.
Yeah,
Instead of being at home resting.
that's right.
Yeah. So what, and Anthony was telling us before about this the other part of his life about the financial planning? Are you pleased that there's going to be a career to follow after football?
I am actually, because I think it's important to have another interest other than football, because these days, with the amount of injuries that occur with footballers, those types of careers I think are short-lived.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good that he's following up on something that he has a fond interest in.
Yeah. How's he been, Susie, with the injury and the late start to the season? I mean, how have the frustrations of that impacted at home?
Look, it has been really frustrating on him, you know, because he wants to get back out and play. But he's trying to cope well with it, and he's doing well. So he's, you know, going headstrong.
What concerns you most about the world that your children are going to grow into?
Probably the drugs that are out there. I think it's pretty clear that there's a lot happening out there, and certainly in my time I didn't see any of that. I certainly stayed away from all that.
Did it exist though? When you
It existed, as in, yeah, I heard people talk about it, never visually seen it myself, and always try to hang around people that weren't involved with those sort of things, and I think I did okay out of it, because I know with high school, you know, the guys that would go around the shed and smoke and things like that, I just avoided all that and just try to keep level-headed, and that's, I think, the scary part for the kids as they grow up now, that when you go out there and the things that are happening, and, you know, the fights and the stabbings, you worry about those sort of things, because you don't want to see your kids, you know, having problems like that.
So do you think the values come from home? I mean, you've got a strong set of values. Do you think you get them from your family, or it's just you alone?
Yeah, no, I think the family, yeah, definitely. My parents were pretty strict. They didn't really allow us to go to parties or things like that when we were young. I was basically stayed at home and played sport whenever we could, and just stayed with my older brother Paul and my younger brother Christian. We just hung out together until basically we were 18, and then they gave us the freedom to go out.
I've really enjoyed my time with the Koutoufides family. I just wonder whether there's...
You can ask him a few more questions.
Well, I just wonder whether there's you came in and said you want the starring role. It's a group thing, mate.
Yeah, no,
there's no I in team. No I in team.
Exactly right, Mike.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
But do you can have the last word, mate.
Yeah, what's that?
Whatever you want it to be. What would you like it to be?
Let me think. Well, we can talk about
Tell me about your hobbies, Christian.
My hobbies? I've got plenty of hobbies.
Collecting cards.
Yeah, I collect things. You know, I'm a collector.
Where will you go when we finish this little chat? What lies in store for you from there?
I'll probably go take a mum to Northland Shopping Centre.
Yeah? Yeah?
Go buy some... You have to buy something, man. Can't remember what she had to buy. And then probably go home. She'll whip me up some food.
Yeah?
And then probably sleep a bit. It's my day off today.
Yeah? Day off. And what about tomorrow? What will you do?
Tomorrow I go to uni.
Do you?
Study a bit, yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm doing human movement.
Good for you.
Yeah. And then I want to hopefully get onto journalism. Yeah. I'm inspired.
I wouldn't, mate.
I'm inspired.
No one likes you. You're the only bloke, you're the first bloke I've met that's happy with what I do.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'm talking from my heart here, Mike. I hope you're not just saying that.
You're a chance, mate. You're going to have a cadetship as soon as you want it.
Thanks, Mike.
Well, thank you for sharing your time with us, and we've enjoyed it.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for joining me in what was an in-depth look at the man they call Kouta. See you next time on Open Mic.